actually, one of the greatest things that ever stood with me was when I was at Newcastle Falcons, my first ever club. And we had, he's still around, but at the time we had a short little fat Geordie bloke that was our fitness coach. He was more than that. He was a life coach. He was everything. He was, if I'm honest, he's my own personal coach. And he was a guy called Steve Black. He was the guy behind Johnny Wilkinson that sort of made him the player that he was, and et cetera, et cetera. And I never forget, he came to me, and it was probably one of the greatest bit of management speak or coaching advice that he'd ever given me. And it was so simple. A lot of this stuff is common sense, but not necessarily common practice. Right. And he just came over to me and he said, look, Ollie, I'm 19, 20, I think at the time. And he said, look, maximize your strengths and just manage your weaknesses. And I was like, well, what are you on about, Blackie? Yeah, of course. He's like, look, you're going to come across loads of coaches, loads of managers in your time on the rugby field and away that are going to come up to you and they're going to literally tell you everything that you're bad at. Right? And if you listen to it, you've only got 24 hours in every day. You're going to spend all of that time working on stuff that you're naturally or just not that good at. And everything that you're amazing at, which is why we brought you here, you're going to forget about. And all you'll end up doing is just ending up in the middle and being average. And nobody wants anyone that's average. So I was like, oh, right. So it stuck with me all the way through, just understanding and guess what I'm really good at and what I'm not so good at. And then just working all the time on making sure that my strengths are like super sharp, super honed, and my weaknesses are not something that's going to, cause the team to trip up or lose or anything like that. And that is possibly one of the best bits of advice I've ever had. Luckily, I got it early doors.